Hey guys, welcome in to the Outspoken Sportscast here, episode 112. We got Greg on. We got headlines on Tuesday for you. How's it going, Greg?
Good. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. We got our technical difficulties taken care of, so hopefully Craig sounds a little better this week and we don't lose him. This week we got some basketball update for you. We talk about the first and second games that happened, and we got some other things as football and the USFL those over the weekend, and some wide receiver trouble in the NFL and all that good stuff. But we'll start off with the NBA playoffs here. It's been pretty good games. We've had some blowouts. We've had some things that happen that we figured were going to happen. Let's start off with the Mavericks. Mavericks lose. Luka's been out. This was the big question mark because can this team win without Luka? Going to be very difficult to do that. They lost a close one in game one. They lost at 99-93. I thought that was a game they let slip. The Utah Jazz weren't playing very well at all, and that's a game that they should have won. But they had a horrible shooting night all around. No one really stepped up, and the Jazz didn't really look that impressive either, and they were able to walk away with the win, which I figured that would happen. In game two of Dallas, the Mavericks get the job done. Brunson scores his highest career playoff game of all time, 41 points. He went off. He had 41 points and 0 turnovers. They won 110 or what was the score of that game? Do you have the score of that game? It was like 110 to 104.
110, 102, 104. Yeah, something like that.
6-point win. Maxi Kleba had 8 from 11 from the 3-point line.
Yeah, they hit 22 total, which is a team record.
Yeah, it's a team playoff record. Is it a playoff record for the whole NBA or is it just a team?
I think the team, yeah.
This team.
Because I think as long as you got Golden State around, I think they shoot more than 22. So
yeah. It was a dominating performance for these two guys, and they played well at home. I still don't, unless Luka's coming back game 3, I don't think the Mavericks win the series because it took such a game we're not going to probably see again from Brunson or Kleba. They're going on the road in Utah, which they don't.
Yeah, your role players do not play as well on the road technically as they do at home.
Right. And that's most teams,
Yeah, that's all the way around.
Right. So I still think Jazz pull this off unless Luka comes back in game 3. They're talking about him coming back in game 3 or 4. And it also depends on how healthy he is. If you get Luka and he's 50%, what is that going to look like? Is he on a minute limitation and all that stuff? But
he did shoot around the other day. He didn't look good.
Yeah.
They saw the video. It was very light. He wasn't jumping, exploding off his deal at all. I just don't think he has that kind of ability to back it down. Like he wants to go and he wants to go all the way. So if he can't do that, I suggest not playing him because bad things are going to happen.
Yeah, you don't want to risk his whole next season if he blows out that Achilles. We got the 76ers dominating the Raptors both games. They look really
disappointing. Good. It's disappointing from a Raptors standpoint. They had some injuries of people that didn't play the first game. I don't know if they played the second game, but that's been a very disappointing. I mean, this is kind of what we expected from Toronto coming in, but then they won 50 games. So that's if you're going to win 50, you need to show up in the playoffs and act like you won 50.
I picked them to win the series. I didn't think the 76ers were meshed really well yet. They got the trade.
But I thought give Philadelphia a little bit tougher of a battle.
Yeah. I just thought the Raptors are more I think they're better coached, more team chemistry. I figured that might help out. They played really well this season.
Agreed.
Coming in this year, the 76ers, I didn't know what kind of respect to give them. And Embiid's taken over. He's
I don't know. I didn't know what to think because you put some new pieces in late in the season. I didn't know if they had meshed yet. Looks like they're going to be okay.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to go, take a deep run here. The Raptors could still win, but the 76ers did take a 2-game lead. Everybody that played last night went to 2 games except the Dallas Mavericks. The Warriors dominating the Nuggets. Oh my gosh, your pick. They're
Who
looking like
called that?
you're looking like the dominant. Your picks looking, the Golden State Warriors to win it all is looking pretty dominant. Steph Curry came off the bench last night and scored 34 points in 23 minutes.
That's my guy. That's what he does.
If you have Steph Curry coming off the bench,
that's how deep your roster is.
No one's beating them. No one's beating them. It's insane. They beat the Nuggets 123 to 107 game one, and they dominated them again last night. We got the Hawks that got dominated by the Heat. We figured that was going to happen. The Hawks aren't the same team as they were last season.
No. They won the playoff game, the play-in game. I mean, the East didn't have a whole lot of competition to play in the 8th spot anyway. So I don't think Miami will face any kind of adversity until Boston or maybe, I mean, it's either going to be the winner of the Boston or the Nets series. It's kind of the only adversity they're going to face in the East. Maybe the 76ers.
Yeah. Bucks beat the Bulls in a low-scoring affair, 93-86. This
Bulls
is the game.
Have been a little disappointed. I thought they'd play a little defense, play a little better.
Well, they got to score more points. They held them to 93 points on for Bucks on the first game, and I was like, if you're holding Giannis down to 93 points, you got to win that game. But they weren't on it shooting wise. They only scored 86 points, and that's just not very. It's not going to get the job done. Now the other series is the Celtics and the Nets, and this is the game we were looking forward to. I want to see Kyrie go into Boston and get booed. I can't stand Kyrie Irving. I can't stand Kevin Durant. I hate both them fools. And Kyrie goes in, and he has one heck of a game. He single-handedly
did everything he could.
Single-handedly tried to bring him back in this. They probably should have won too.
If Durant plays defense on the last play and doesn't,
he just stood there.
Let him, like
Tatum,
a tree.
Tatum runs basically straight to the goal. He gets a nice pass and a nice play. He does a little spin move, puts it up and in to win. They get the 1-point victory in game one. I believe they play tonight for game two.
I believe so.
Kyrie Irving is also getting fined $50,000 for flipping off fans.
And probably the under the tunnel
comment
probably didn't help.
We cannot say this statement on this podcast, but
yes, no, we cannot.
Well, I can't stand Kyrie, and this guy, he talks about it like he came on before the series and was like, well, let's let bygones be bygones. And
we knew that one.
Let's, and then he goes on there and is flipping off fans. And I'm like, all right, guy, like it's a horrible look, but it is what it is. And obviously the Suns take care of business 110-99 against the Pelicans. The Pelicans don't have any shot. And let me ask you a question, because I believe Zion Williams is going to be one of the biggest busts of all time. I don't know how you feel about it.
I thought so too, just from a body type injury standpoint. He's so big and he hits the ground so hard. Like, I didn't think longevity. I thought he would be good when he played, but I didn't think he was going to be able to stay on the floor, and that has been the case so far. Now he is saying that he's healthy enough to play, and the Pelicans sound like they're telling him, "Nah, we're good." That I think eventually he gets out of New Orleans, but where does he go? How does he catch on?
There was talks about him leaving last. I mean, there was talks about him last season wanting to leave and wanting now.
He's hurt, though.
Yeah, what's the point for the Pelicans to play him now? He hasn't played most of the season. You're not going to go to the championship. You might as well just rest him. He's out there doing 360 dunks, and they're like, he's looking like he's able to play, but he's not going to be. It's just a weird situation. This guy came out with as much hype as LeBron James, it seemed like, and I think he's going to ultimately be a bust with injuries because he doesn't physically know how to take care of his size body. He's a beast, but blowing through tennis shoes like basketball shoes like they're nothing.
Yeah.
All right, well that's your NBA update there. We got basically everybody going up 2-0 except the Mavericks. Mavericks are,
Yeah.
they go back to Utah. They're hoping that they're trying to see if Luka can play game 3 or 4. I don't see it happening. And people are talking like he's automatically gonna come back, but he may not.
Yeah, no, I really think their best bet is to try to somehow win this series without Luka and rest him and hope that he's ready for round 2. I think that's your best case scenario. The first round, they always spread the games out. They last a little longer. They last probably 2 weeks, and I think that's probably your safest bet. If you look at your grade 2 timeline, I think that is more of what he's looking for. So I think that's what he should need. And I don't know. We'll see if Kid tries to play him, but I think that's just the Mavericks trying to get in and let the other team prepare for a guy who's not going to be there.
Yeah, I think it's all head games and just.
But we'll see.
He can
I
play. He can
mean,
play.
he might be superhuman. He is young. He might be sleeping in the hyperbaric chamber at night. Who knows?
Oh, he definitely wants to be out there, but just a bad timing to get hurt.
Yeah. Boy, Mavs fans are right now wishing they did not get that technical rescinded. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that was interesting too. All right, well, we got some.
Tony Brothers is like, I was trying to help you, bro. I was teeing you up. I was trying to help you.
He saw it in his magical ball at home and said, "Hey, I gotta throw this guy out tonight." But and it's funny, are the Mavs the one that fought that, or was the NBA?
Yeah. Cuban, you know how Cuban is. He was emailing the NBA before the game was over.
Nice.
Mavericks are the only team that doesn't get referees to the home court team doesn't get the calls. You know, they went to the free throw line last night than the road team. You know, go figure. Thanks, Cuban.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Mark Cuban myself, but it's a whole other topic there. Let's see. All right, that's our NBA update, NBA playoff update. It looks like first round is going like we thought, and it also looks like it's going to be a quick series for a lot of these teams. A lot of these games going up 2-0, but we'll see even you go game 7. I love game 7s, but well, the rest of our updates have all been football related, which is fine with me because I love football. The biggest news coming out this week was the sources say that star wide receivers Deebo Samuel, AJ Brown, and Terry McLaughlin will skip on-field workouts during the offseason programs as they push for new contracts. Now, that came out. Terry McLaurin actually, they said that he wasn't supposed to be involved in that he will show up on-field workouts. He probably wants a new contract. This is something that I don't think we saw coming this offseason. The wide receiver market has just flown off the map. You got
I think it started with Amari last year when the Cowboys gave him 5 for $100 and give him 20 a year. It reset the market, and these guys were like, "Hey, wait a minute, what are we doing?" And I think that started it. That's where it started. And then this offseason, it's just been back up the Brinks truck. You know?
Oh yeah. You got Adams, who's 5-year, $140 million. He's averaging 28.5 a year. You got Heel, who's the second highest paid, 4-year, $120 million, 30 averaged a year. You got Amari Cooper, who's 5 years, $100 million, and he's averaging 20. And then it drops down to Michael Thomas. He's a 5-year deal. He's averaging 19.2, and then Stephon Diggs is 4-year.
I think he's gonna want to go back to the market too. Like, with all the way these guys are getting paid.
I think he's going to want off the team. That's
him and Peyton do not get along.
We can get on that here in a second, but it's interesting. What I don't understand with the way the league is going, okay? They want quarterbacks to get paid 50, and then the next one's going to want 55, and the next one, and then these wide receivers are going to want to get. You can't pay your quarterback 50, you can't pay your wide receiver 30, and you can't pay your cornerback over 20, 20 something million, 25, whatever it is. I'm like, what? How is these teams supposed to have these star players on the same team, paying them millions and millions of dollars? Is it going to get to the point where the cap is just, it doesn't equal up to the fairness of what these people are asking for? Because the market just keeps going up and up like nothing. And I'm like, well, the cap's got to start going up, because if
Well,
not,
and it will with the TV money, and that's what they're projecting is the that's what they're expecting is that to happen, is is the market to go up because the TV money goes up. That's what they were betting on the Dak deal. That's why they're backloading a lot of these contracts because they were
because that TV money ain't here yet.
Yeah, it's not here yet.
They're projecting what it's going to be. Now, so you got all these guys getting paid. AJ Brown wants money. Deebo Samuel wants more money because he does everything. Wide receiver, running back. He wants to be paid like multiple positions. We got Patrick here on here, says, "Hey, call my agent. I'll play for less." I agree. I will definitely play for a lot less than that, Patrick. But it's just crazy, the amount. And then you look at Cooper was making $20 million for Dallas, and that seems kind of cheap compared to what some of these guys are making now. But let's go back to Michael Thomas, because I think he's pretty interesting. There was a report, I think it was last season. It was actually the year before last, actually, how Michael Thomas was hurt, but they asked him. There was a report saying that the Saints asked him to play through his injury and not do surgery for Drew Brees' last season. And he did that. And then they were mad because he chose to do his surgery during the offseason, and he missed a couple games, and there was back and forth bickering, and they both sides were unhappy. And then he comes back and he got hurt, and he was out basically all last season. So we really haven't seen him in a whole year. Why would you want to go back to New Orleans? You don't have a quarterback. I mean, I'm surprised there have been more talks about him being traded somewhere this offseason. Do you think he's traded before this season? Do you think they stick with him? What are your thoughts on Michael Thomas?
Yeah, I mean, he should have gotten the surgery when it was needed in the offseason. He really put the Saints behind the 8 ball and all that. And when you don't do that, I mean, your head coach isn't going to be happy when you come in and go, "Oh, hey, I'm not going to play." And then, so it's just, I think he's still good. I think he's still productive. I think he can still help the team. But I think there's a very big barrier there between him and Peyton. And when you don't get along with the head coach, you're not going to see a lot of time on the field.
Well, Peyton's not there anymore, Craig. Remember?
No, yeah, but hopefully that helps
going forward. Yeah, going forward, that might change some things.
But I mean, is his attitude towards a new guy the same as Peyton, or I mean, I don't know.
Right. I guess
does he get along with that guy?
Who is do we even know who the coach is? I have no clue who the coach is for the Saints, because I don't see any of these wide receivers sitting out training camp and sitting out because they made that rule where they will be fined for missing practices and missing games, and you can't take that money away. Do you think anybody this year is going to start sitting out any of these 3 wide receivers, or even Kyle Murray when it comes to that point? Do you think they're sitting out and losing money? Le'Veon Bell did that a couple years ago, but
we'll see how healthy he is coming back from the ACL and when this happened in the Super Bowl.
We haven't seen we haven't seen somebody yet since they changed that ruling that you will lose money, and it can't be voided out. So I'm interested to see if
Yeah,
any of
no,
these
I do
guys,
hope. Yeah,
do sit out, but I'm not sure. Talking about big contracts too, Cleveland Browns make Denzel Ward the highest paid cornerback with a 5-year, $100 million extension. He's good. He's a good cornerback. He's top 6, top 5 in the league when healthy. This hurts my team because my team's got to pay freaking Jair Alexander, and the more the market goes up, the more he's going to want to make. So
yeah,
that's not good for me.
yeah,
Not good
and
for me
then
at all.
I mean, basically, it's going to force teams to have to go draft all new wide receivers and pay them rookie deals to try to keep them under the cap.
Yep. And that um, that will be all these cap gurus, I like to call them. They're backloading deals and they're changing his contract. And Green Bay does it a lot. Cowboys do it all the time. But at the end of the day, when that time comes in a couple years, I'm like, Green Bay is going to be hurting for a lot because we were bad this year in cap, and we were able to get under it. Losing Devontae Adams helped getting under the cap, didn't help our offense, but so we'll see what these guys are able to do. And like I said, the market keeps going up and up and up and up and up and up. And I'm like, man, that TV money better come in. These cap numbers better start going up because I don't know how teams are going to be able to afford to have star players in each position, as far as a wide receiver, a quarterback, a cornerback, defensive end, pass rushers type of situation. But we do have a question from Patrick, and it's not on a run sheet here, and it's actually something I talked about on a TikTok video. It says, "Where will Mayfield go?" Baker Mayfield, and I think that's been the biggest question mark this offseason, in my opinion. As far as just
We're saying Carolina's got the lead deal on it. I don't know if that's the case or not.
I have
I
no
don't know
clue.
what you would give up for him. I don't think Cleveland's going to make it easy because of the Watson suspension. They want to back. They need something to fall back on in case the NFL goes and says it's going to be 8 or 10 games. If they go crazy and say this is going to be half the season, then they need something to be. I mean, because you ruin your season if you get rid of Mayfield and they go suspend your quarterback for 8 games. You don't have anybody.
I believe they signed a backup quarterback.
Well, they did, but he's not Baker
But,
Mayfield. I
well,
mean, he's
yeah,
not.
he's not.
He's
I
not going
mean,
to win you. He's not going to win you 5 or 6 games.
no. And if I'm Baker Mayfield and they ask me that, I'm giving them 2 middle
100%.
fingers.
I'm out. I mean,
see you later, bro. He didn't.
Yeah.
Well, Deshaun Watson showed up this today and to voluntary workouts, and Baker Mayfield did not. Patrick asked, "Is he better than Sam Darnold?" 100% better than Sam Darnold.
Yeah. I think anybody's better than Sam Darnold. I think they are really regretting that decision right now.
Well, it's like I thought it might work out because Sam Darnold played with the Jets, and you just don't know. I thought it was a good pickup.
I mean, that's always a fair deal. That you got to give them a second chance, but they did, and that didn't work out very well.
The nod, just like Carson Wentz with Indianapolis, didn't work out very well.
Well, that was a huge disappointment because when he went back to be with Frank Reich, I thought that was a match made. That's where he had his MVP season with. That's where he put his numbers up. Indy had the better offensive line. I really thought that was going to be what he needed, and it was not.
Me too. A good running back, a good running game to take that pressure off, to open up the offense. They really didn't have a wide receiver there for him. His defense is good. I thought that was going to be his redemption, but now he's got to hope that it's in Washington with the Commanders. Going back to Baker Mayfield, yeah, they did say that the Panthers do look like they're the front runners. But did you see Robbie Anderson? Is it Robert? Was it Robert? No, it's not Robbie Anderson. What's the wide receiver for the Panthers? The main wide receiver. Do you know his name?
Oh, they went and got
Moore.
The kid.
DJ Moore.
Yes.
I think it is. Did you see what he said? There was rumors about Baker going to Carolina, and Robbie Anderson straight up said, "No, I don't want to play with this guy. I don't want him. Came out twice publicly saying, do not bring him in here.
He's got a bad attitude. I mean, it's all about Baker when he goes somewhere. And a lot of teams, when you're trying to build team chemistry, that's not the guy to bring into the locker room. And that's going to be the stopping point to a lot of these teams is if I'm trying to build something, if I'm that head coach in Carolina trying to save my job, Baker Mayfield's not the horse I'm hooking my wagon to. But that's just me.
It'd be different with his attitude if he was a winner. Cleveland gave him a lot of talent. You can't, and he didn't produce. He produced good, decent. He's a decent quarterback, but he didn't get to the level of the talent they had around him. Then he got injured his shoulder last year. I like Baker. I like his he's going to give you everything out on the field. That's something you cannot deny. He gives you 100% on the field all the time, but his attitude has kept teams from. Maybe that's why he hasn't gone nowhere. I figured I figured Indy would pick him up but when they got Matt Ryan, I figured Atlanta would be the for sure thing, and they go and sign a backup Marcus Mariota, which had me scratching my head. I don't know how you felt about that, but I'm like, Baker Mayfield's still out there. What are we doing here, guys?
Mariota has never been a success, and I don't know if he ever will be. You want to talk about bust? That's going to be a large one. Is Marcus Mariota? I don't know. I mean, I think Baker can play in the right situation. I mean, he has a point. He's played for how many offensive coordinators already in his career already? They're changing them every year over there. So if he can just get some consistency, then maybe he's not as bad as Deal. Plus, that offensive line last year was not what it was cracked up to be in Cleveland. It was hurt. It was like a turnstile. Plus, Baker was playing with a torn labrum. I mean it wasn't in his throwing arm, but that still had to hurt every time he got hit.
That's one thing.
So he got some bad breaks.
Yeah, he did, and that's one thing I talked about on my TikTok video. Is the question I brought up even before they got Deshaun Watson is Cleveland about to pay Baker, or are they going to get rid of the best quarterback they've ever had?
Yeah,
and
they've never signed any of those guys to a second contract. They've drafted a first-round quarterback 100 times and never signed any of them to a second contract.
That was the dilemma. Did you think Baker was good enough to get you to the ultimate goal of winning the Super Bowl, or even going to the Super Bowl? I didn't think so. I think he's a decent quarterback. I like his fight on the field. I don't blame them for upgrading to Deshaun Watson, but I think the way they handled it, the way that they're just holding on to Baker, and if they ask him to seriously come out here and say, hey, and just in case Deshaun Watson gets suspended because we have no clue yet, will you play for us? No, I won't. Double fingers and get me out of here. I'm not. That's just ridiculous.
I'm still trying to figure out what the NFL is waiting on the Watson deal. The case is settled. He's not going to face the criminal charges, but he's going to face all the civil charges. He'll shell out a bunch of money and it'll all go away. But the NFL has got to make this decision as the draft is upcoming a week from Thursday. The camps are starting to come. If he's going to be suspended, they need to know they're doing Cleveland a huge disservice going into the draft and going in to try to build a football team, and you don't know what your number one quarterback, the status of him is. That's a terrible look for the NFL.
And maybe that, and they do that a lot. You're like, what are you waiting on? Why aren't we sitting on we're not doing anything with this? Sorry, Lady C says hi, Lady C on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for tuning in and leaving up. Joseph Strandberg says Craig brings up a lot of good points. So good job there, Craig.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you guys for tuning in. And Patrick says hello too. Yeah, Baker. Yeah, he has got to. I don't know what's going on. Give him the double bird. Get out of there. The NFL does sit on a lot of things when you're like, what are we doing here? And they are doing them a disservice.
Punishment, disciplinary, yes, 100%.
And maybe this is a punishment from the league in itself of whoever took Deshaun Watson. This is what they're going to do. They're going to twiddle their thumbs. You would like to see maybe the Browns be able to trade Baker Mayfield.
And maybe it happens on draft night.
Maybe
try
it
to
does.
Get some extra picks.
Maybe it does. We got some interesting messages going on here, but anyways, I'm gonna try and ignore some of those. All right, well, yes, the NFL does sit on those things, but let's see. We also got to talk about the Calvin Joseph update. Calvin Joseph says he was in the car of the that took a man's life, took gunshots in Dallas. Says he wasn't the shooter. A day later, 2 guys get arrested, and Calvin Joseph's out at practice
because he sang like a canary. He's like, "What do you guys need? You guys need addresses, phone numbers, birthplaces. What do you need? Birth certificates? I got it all. Hold on." I mean, he gave them everything they needed. He probably showed them the gun. He gave them everything they wanted in hopes that they would do what they've done. And I still find a very hard time that this is over for him, that they're just going to let him sit in the car and not be some kind of, if he would have, when this happened, if he calls Dallas PD the next day and says, "Hey, listen, I got your shooters. I was in a car with them. I didn't know there was guns involved, and I was in a wrong spot at the wrong time, but I got your 2 guys that shot them. I know where they're at. I know where they live. I know what their names are. I'll give you everything." Then that's fine. That's where we get to no charges. But the fact that they had to go look for him, and the fact that Dallas Cowboy fans are the ones that basically figured him out and said, "Hey, he's got the medallion around his neck that we recognize. That's our guy." And their Dallas PD's like, "Hold on, wait a minute, what is this?" They're like, "Yeah, that's Calvin Joseph. He wears that medallion around the NFL." And so they went and found him. And next thing you know, "Oh yeah, you got me." You can't, if you're not going to tell us you're involved and we have to come find you, you're part of it. And the NFL is 100%. I don't know. 4 games, 5 games. I don't know, but he's getting something. He's not going to get away. He plays for the Dallas Cowboys. Roger Goodell he might get the whole season being the fact that he's a Cowboy. Who knows?
Well, look, you're right. You're correct on all that. The thing is he's out practicing right now for Dallas. I'm like,
yeah,
what?
We pretended
doing?
Like Calvin Joseph wasn't there.
What are we doing?
No, well, that's Dallas PD for you, not the NFL. I mean,
Patrick says Jerry's writing him a big check right now. It's a bad look. Could the Dallas Cowboys not have said, "Hey, you might want to sit this one out, buddy"? A little fresh here.
I guess, yeah.
My thing is, and they've been talking about 105 to the fan, is why is Dallas waiting for the NFL to do anything? Why doesn't Dallas say, "Hey, you're cut or you're suspended or whatever it is"? I guess they're not going to.
Come on now. You know Dallas and the history of having people on their team with a criminal record. That's how we build a football team. If you have a criminal record, then you come play football for us.
It's Jerry Jones' second chance house. He runs there in Dallas.
Yeah. We're running a halfway house around here. Come on, Brian. What are we doing?
Yeah, I'm like, are you kidding me? This guy is practicing right now for you guys. It's just
he's going to be the starter.
It's crazy. Oh, and then yeah. He was Patrick, good point there. He wasted another second round pick. Why does Jerry Jones like to gamble with your second round picks? It's never the 3rd or the 5th or the 6th where if you take a guy in the 6th and it's a gamble, that's fine, right? That's fine. Okay, if it works out, it does. Not if not, it's a low risk. But it's a second round pick. I'm like, you got to stop taking these. He's bit you guys in the butt before. That's not a round you want. It's not a round you want to take a second chance type of guy. And we knew his problems coming out. He got kicked out of 2 programs basically. It's just
100%.
It's typical for the Jerry Jones of Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah. No, I agree.
All right, Craig. Well, we got one more interesting. Well, it might be interesting. I don't know. Did you watch the USFL? It kicked off this last weekend. Do you have any impressions? Did you watch it
I
at
cannot
all?
say that I did. I was watching the NBA playoffs and Major League Baseball. It just, I mean, I see where they drafted these kids and everything like that, but they're playing all these games in Alabama. Like they're having to play all the games in Alabama for some reason, and so I didn't know that till last night. But
I don't know if they travel. They're going to travel to a different stadium and play the next
I
weekend,
mean, there's
or
two.
if it's
I think there's two stadiums they can use. I mean, one of them's obviously going to be, I would say, the Crimson Tide Stadium. I don't know. Maybe the Georgia Dome. I don't know. But it's weird. And I mean, so yeah, I think it gives fans football. Anybody who likes football, then yeah, it gives them another outlet. But and it gives these guys a chance to show their talent, and hopefully somebody sees them and picks them up, and their careers deal. I just don't know how. I mean, the XFL didn't catch on. None of this ever. The NFL, if it starts to really get popular, will somehow squash it and buy it out, and it'll go away. And so, no, I really didn't get a chance to watch it much. But I heard. I mean, there was the reviews on it were pretty solid for opening weekend.
now I've watched the XFL when it took off a couple years ago, and it lasted a season, and they canceled. I watched the
I thought
A.
that was actually going to make it the second time. I think the pandemic just destroyed it. I thought the fans were involved. I thought the TV ratings were involved. The XFL was going well the second round. The first time it was just a joke, but the second time it wasn't bad.
They are coming back next season. So the Rock has bought them. The Rock and his ex-wife has bought them
Yeah.
out. They changed the logo, which they're being sued for because they think they stole it from somebody. So they're coming back next season, and they're actually working with NFL. They made a deal with the NFL, and they're gonna help on player safety for the XFL and getting things ready. So I think that's a smart way to go. Um, yes, Austin, can you smell what the Rock is cooking? But there was the AAF that came, the AAF, and it lasted 8 games,
Yeah.
and shut down in the middle of the season. I've watched all of them. I've tried to watch all of them just to see. This one looks like the best one so far that I've seen. They have a drone camera. I really like the drone camera. They use that camera every now and then. It'll go back and forth, kickoffs and stuff, and it'll kill the football on a field goal. It'll follow that and see where it goes. I really like that. I like they have cameras in everyone's helmet, so they can go back and watch the running back or the wide receiver running a route or whatever. I really like that as well. The first night, the stadium was packed. Then you got on to the next day, and there was like 4 people in the stands, so not a very good look. But Jason Garrett was in the commentating booth, and that was a big story. And I thought he was going to be boring. I didn't think I was going to like it, but I really liked Jason Garrett in the booth. I was listening to that game. It was the Gamblers versus somebody, Houston Gamblers versus somebody, and Garrett was in the commentating booth, and I thought he did a fantastic job. I believe they talked about 105 through the fan that Jason Garrett's going to be a sideline reporter on in the NFL this year. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but I thought he did a pretty dadgum good job in the booth, and I was surprised by that because
As a guy who has sat through many of Jason Garrett press conferences, not impressed. Yeah.
yes, but I think you got to go listen to his audio on that, and maybe tune into a game that he's a commentary up there. But I honestly
Yeah,
thought this
I'll
was
get
the
right on
best
that right
one.
after my Giants baseball game. Sorry, bro.
I think it's
It'll
worth a
be a
listen.
hard pass.
I think it's worth a listen.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I think that's going to be it for this episode. We covered all the major news that happened between Friday's episode and this week. Me and Craig jump on Tuesday nights. We'll keep it around 5:00, 5:30 ish, and then Fridays usually me and Jeff as well. We'll do another show then. talk about anything else that happens, and give you all the updated news. Now, thank you, Patrick. Great show, guys. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Now, we did have some trolls in here. I had to block some people on YouTube. Some fun stuff. My dumb self, I did the same thing last year, Craig. I thought the draft was a certain Thursday, and I was wrong. This Thursday is not the draft. All right, I screwed that up. That's on me.
28.
It's next week. So next Monday, me and Ryan Sims will jump on here and give you a pre-draft special. We'll go through the top 50 prospects and head it into the draft. Craig will jump on Thursday night and give you a live reaction to the first round of the NFL draft. And then Friday, me and Jeff will be back on to talk about the draft and anything else as well. Craig might jump on Tuesday, but Craig, I was going to ask you this. I'm going out of town this weekend. I will not be able to do a show. After I get off work Friday, I'm going out of town, 4-hour drive. If you want to jump on and do a show, your first solo show, you can. I don't know.
Friday?
Yes, on Friday.
Is Jeff not available either?
Well, I could talk to you after. I can talk to you off the live show. Let's give you the show for this one. It's episode 112. We are on every podcast platform you can find. We are live streaming to YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. If you want to watch our beautiful faces on here. If you can't watch us live, follow us on the podcast platforms, Outspoken Sportscast. We got some changes coming up, guys. I'm waiting for Jeff to get that stuff rolling, and we will throw those changes out here as we try to grow the show and do as much as we possibly can to get our content out to you guys. Fantastic show, Craig. Fantastic show.
Thank you, sir.
You got anything in your life that you want to talk about here before we let go? Anything going on?
We're gonna go to the Stars game Saturday night and going with Josh, and we're gonna go check out the Stars and the Kraken and see if maybe we don't wrap up a playoff spot. It should be right around the time that they hit the number of wins, and rough one last night. Up in they're making the swing through Canada, and they didn't start off real well. So they got 3 games up in Canada. They come back Saturday night, and I'll be in the building checking that out. So we will see how that is from the Lexus Club level of the American Airlines Center.
Nice. Now, I haven't really I haven't been a hockey fan since I was a little kid. I mean, I haven't watched hockey in a long time. I've been trying to get back into it. I am a Dallas Stars fan, so something we can agree on.
Well, courtesy of Bally's, nobody can watch.
Yes, you can't even watch. Fun. Yeah. Thank God I have Bally's because it's not something I knew.
So
fun stuff. You couldn't watch the Mavericks play the other night, and that's horrible.
Don't really do that anyway,
horrible.
But
that's horrible.
Anyway, but yeah, we're gonna be in the building Saturday night, and so that'll be interesting and fun, and hopefully we get to see a good game. It's 2 pretty good teams, two playoff teams, and on the brink of playoff teams. The Kraken in their inaugural year got a pretty good team, and it should be a pretty good game. They've gone 1-1 so far. They've split the season series, so this will be a good matchup Saturday night. Hope we see some good hockey.
Do you know a lot about hockey, Craig? You know how?
Yeah, I know. I mean, I know the roster's better and the rules and regulations and stuff like that. But I think Colorado is going to be extremely, extremely tough this year. They were tough last year, and I think they've got some really young talent. And I think they're not only going to be good this year, but they're going to be good for a long time to come. I think the Stars probably get in just because they have a 3-point lead on Vegas, and they have 2 games in hand on Vegas. So plus 1 head-to-head. So that's 3 games that they can make up points on Vegas and kind of widen that gap for that wild card spot. They also are tied, or were before last night, tied with the team above them for the first wild card spot. What you want to do is try to avoid that second wild card spot and try to avoid Colorado in the first round. Why it's not uncommon in hockey for 8 to beat 1. You don't want to face Colorado in the first round and deal. You'd like to avoid them at all possible costs for a round or two. But Dallas looks okay. Their goalie situation is kind of in limbo. They had a guy retire in the middle of the year. Another guy had season-ending surgery, so they're having to rely on some guys that don't have a lot of time between the pipes to carry them through here. So I don't think kind of a similar situation to Dallas and the Rangers. I think they make the playoffs, but I don't think they make a very deep run unless they just get the hot goaltending, which in hockey, when you get a hot goaltender, you can ride it all the way. They rode the goaltending to the finals a couple years ago. So we'll see.
Well, it's good to know we can have some hockey talk. I'm not all up in on the hockey now. Going to the hockey game is one of the best experiences. I think watching on TV is nowhere near. You go to the game and it's electric. It's really fantastic. I need to get out. My neighbor has some season tickets to the Dallas Stars, so I need to catch a game with him. But good to know for
Call me up.
Good to know for future references.
Yeah. So so that'll be Saturday, and just kind of get everything done there, and hopefully see a good game, and then get ready for this draft next week. I think there's going to be a lot of moving pieces Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, more than normal. I think you're going to see a lot of trades. I think you're going to see people going, draft picks going, and I think it's going to be a really, really, really interesting draft on Thursday night, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it as well. And I think there's going to be a lot of moving pieces. We could see Baker Mayfield traded finally. We could see teams moving up, moving down. Jordan Love could be traded from Green Bay. We don't know. It looks probably like we'll keep on from what we've been talking about, keeping him. But there's a lot of things that can happen, and we're getting ready for that. So, all right, guys. Well, we want to thank all those on the show tonight, watching, listening, and commenting on the show. Thanks, Patrick. You're a what do you want to call it? I don't know. I can't think of the word. Anyways, all right, guys. Well, that's gonna be it for this episode. Take care and God bless.